Everyone thinks that being highly spiritual means you'll attract only love, light, and beautiful experiences into your life. Dead wrong. The reality is far more controversial. When you genuinely raise your vibrato and connect with your EU superior, you're going to experience phenomena that most people would find disturbing, unsettling, or downright weird. Society has sold us this sanitized version of spiritual evolution where everything becomes peaceful and harmonious, but that's not how the universe actually works. Here's what nobody tells you about genuine expanso de consciência: it makes you incompatible with 90% of the population. Your elevated energia espiritual starts triggering reactions in others that range from inexplicable attraction to outright hostility. Animals begin treating you like some kind of mystical being, complete strangers dump their deepest secrets on you without warning, and toxic people start avoiding you like you're carrying some invisible force field. Most spiritual teachers won't admit this because it sounds too intense, too real, too far removed from the love and light narrative that sells courses. But here's the thing that will blow your mind: these aren't side effects of spiritual growth. These are the signs that you've actually made it. Neville Goddard understood this when he taught that our inner transformation creates our outer reality, and what I'm about to reveal proves that your jornada espiritual has measurable, undeniable markers that only appear when you've genuinely activated your centella divina and stepped into co-creatio with the universe. The problem is, most people experiencing these phenomena think something's wrong with them. They've been conditioned to believe that spiritual evolution should make them more normal, more accepted, more comfortable in social situations. So when the opposite happens, when they start attracting intense reactions, unusual experiences, and profound connections, they assume they're doing something wrong. They don't realize they're actually receiving the universe's stamp of approval, confirmation that their consciousness has reached a level that most humans never achieve. What you're about to discover isn't some feel-good spiritual theory. These are 5 specific, repeatable phenomena that only occur when someone has genuinely raised their frequency and aligned with universal abundancia. If you've been questioning whether your spiritual practices are actually working, whether your meditation is making a difference, or if you're truly evolving, this video will give you definitive proof. By the end, you'll understand exactly why these experiences happen, what they mean for your spiritual development, and how to recognize them as validation that you're operating from your highest potential. Have you ever wondered why some people just seem to light up a room the moment they walk in? It's not about their clothes, their looks, or even their words. It's something much deeper. According to S.G. Ousley's groundbreaking work A Ciencia de Aura, every human being radiates an invisible energy field that reflects their spiritual evolution and consciousness expansion. This luminous emanation, what we call the aura, acts like a magnetic beacon that draws others toward those who've awakened their centella divina. When someone has been walking their jornada espiritual with genuine dedication, their auric field becomes so vibrant and pure that it creates an almost irresistible attraction. People can't help but gravitate toward them, even if they can't explain why. Think about it this way: imagine your aura as a radio station broadcasting your inner frequency to the universe. Those who've done the inner work, who've connected with their EU superior and raised their vibrato, are essentially broadcasting on a higher channel. Neville Goddard often spoke about how our inner state creates our outer reality, and this principle applies perfectly to auric magnetism. When you're genuinely aligned with prosperidade and abundancia consciousness, your energy field literally shimmers with golden light that others can sense on a subconscious level. I've witnessed this countless times. People with highly developed spiritual awareness walk into networking events, coffee shops, or even grocery stores, and strangers approach them with unusual openness and warmth. The fascinating thing about auric attraction is that it operates through what quantum physics calls non-local consciousness. Your energy field communicates information instantaneously across space. Animals are particularly sensitive to this phenomenon because they haven't learned to ignore their intuitive faculties like most humans have. A person with a radiant aura will notice that dogs approach them more readily, cats seem drawn to sit near them, and even wild birds show less fear. This isn't coincidence, it's your elevated energia spiritual creating a field of safety and love that all living beings can recognize. The more you expand your consciousness and align with universal principles, the more your aura becomes a lighthouse guiding others toward the same spiritual awakening you've experienced. But here's where it gets really interesting. This auric magnetism isn't just about attracting people randomly. Your elevated vibrachio acts like a cosmic filter, naturally drawing in those who are ready for growth while repelling those who aren't aligned with your frequency. I remember working with a client who complained that after her spiritual awakening, she seemed to attract weird people everywhere she went. What she didn't realize was that her newly radiant aura was calling forth other souls ready for transformation. The universe was orchestrating divine encounters through her energy field. This is why highly vibrational people often find themselves in the most unexpected conversations with strangers who share their deepest secrets or ask for guidance out of nowhere. The key to understanding this phenomenon lies in recognizing that your aura is constantly in co-creation with the quantum field around you. Every thought of love, every moment of gratitude, every act of service adds another layer of luminosity to your energy signature. When you consistently operate from this elevated state, you become what I call a walking sanctuary, a living example of what's possible when someone fully embraces their spiritual potential. Notice how certain people seem to effortlessly attract opportunities, meaningful connections, and synchronicities? They're not just lucky, they've learned to maintain an auric frequency that aligns with the universe's natural flow of abundance and love. Yet this magnetic presence is just the beginning of what happens when someone truly steps into their power. There's an ancient truth that most people completely misunderstand, and it's costing them their spiritual evolution. The concept of divine masculine and feminine energy has nothing to do with gender, it's about the fundamental forces that govern all creation in the universe. According to the timeless wisdom of the Kybalion, everything contains both polarities, and those who've truly awakened understand that their jornada espiritual isn't complete until they've integrated both aspects within themselves. When you observe someone who seems to effortlessly navigate life with both strength and intuition, both action and receptivity, you're witnessing a soul who has achieved this sacred balance. Their energia spiritual radiates a completeness that draws others like moths to a flame, because deep down, everyone yearns for this wholeness. The divine masculine represents the principle of focused action, logic, structure, and protective energy. It's the force that builds, creates, and manifests dreams into reality. Think of it as the universe's way of saying let there be light and actually making it happen. Neville Goddard emphasized that we must become the creators of our own reality, and this requires accessing our inner masculine energy to take decisive action toward our goals. On the other hand, the divine feminine embodies intuition, flow, receptivity, and nurturing wisdom. It's the cosmic womb where all possibilities gestate before birth. When you're in your feminine energy, you're naturally connected to your EU superior and can sense the perfect timing for manifestation. A person who has integrated both energies can dream big, feminine, and then systematically build those dreams, masculine, with unprecedented effectiveness. Here's where it gets fascinating from a physica quantica perspective. The observer effect shows us that consciousness itself shapes reality, and balanced individuals naturally access both the observing, feminine, and the collapsing, masculine, aspects of this phenomenon. I've worked with countless clients who struggled with manifestation until they realized they were operating from only one polarity. Sarah, a brilliant entrepreneur, was pure masculine energy, all hustle, no flow, and wondered why her business felt like pushing a boulder uphill. When she learned to honor her feminine intuition and trust divine timing, her revenue tripled within months. Conversely, Michael was so focused on spiritual practices and meditation that he never took practical action, pure feminine energy without masculine structure. The moment he integrated both, his spiritual gifts became a thriving healing practice that brings abundancia to thousands. The beautiful thing about achieving this balance is that it naturally elevates your vibracio and accelerates your expanso de consciência. When you're no longer fighting against half of your nature, you become a walking example of what wholeness looks like. People sense this integration energetically. They feel safer around you because you're not trying to prove your worth through toxic masculinity or manipulative feminine games. Instead, you embody what I call sacred androgyny, a state where your scintilla divina shines through both polarities seamlessly. This is why highly evolved souls often seem to transcend traditional gender roles while still honoring their natural essence. They've learned that true spiritual power comes from embracing the full spectrum of human potential. But here's the real secret that most spiritual teachers won't tell you: this integration process often triggers what feels like a spiritual crisis. As you begin to honor both your masculine and feminine aspects, you'll likely face resistance from a society that profits from keeping people fragmented and seeking external validation. Family members might not understand your newfound balance, old friendships may fall away, and you might even question your own identity for a while. This is completely normal and actually indicates you're on the right path. The universe is testing your commitment to wholeness, and every challenge is an opportunity to practice responding from your integrated self rather than reactive patterns. Those who persist through this initiation period discover something remarkable: their capacity to co-create with the universe expands exponentially, and they begin attracting experiences that reflect their newfound completeness. Yet this inner harmony creates ripple effects that extend far beyond personal transformation. Here's something nobody talks about in those feel-good spiritual circles: when you start living authentically, you're going to piss off a lot of people. And honestly, that's exactly what should happen. The moment you stop performing for others and start honoring your true self, you become a walking mirror that reflects everyone's deepest insecurities back to them. Your genuine energia espiritual becomes like kryptonite to those who've built their entire identity around masks and manipulation. I've seen this phenomenon countless times. Clients who embrace their authentic paths suddenly find themselves surrounded by drama, criticism, and people who seem inexplicably angry at their very existence. What they don't realize is that their elevated vibracio is literally incompatible with lower frequency behaviors, and toxic people can sense this threat to their comfort zone from miles away. Think about it from a physica quantica perspective. Every person operates at a specific energetic frequency, and when you align with your EU superior, you naturally begin resonating at a higher level. This creates what I call frequency friction with those who are still trapped in victim consciousness, gossip, drama, and energy-draining patterns. Your authentic presence becomes a constant reminder of what they could be if they did their own inner work, and instead of being inspired, they often choose resentment. Neville Goddard taught that we attract what we are, not what we want, and when you become genuinely aligned with your scintilla divina, you stop attracting people who need you to dim your light for them to feel comfortable. This is why your jornada espiritual will naturally weed out relationships that were based on codependency rather than genuine connection. The beautiful thing about this process is that it's actually the universe's way of protecting your energy and guiding you toward your tribe. When you stop tolerating disrespect, manipulation, and energy vampires, you create space for soul family to enter your life. I remember working with Jessica, a talented artist who spent years hiding her gifts because her family called her too sensitive and impractical. The moment she started sharing her authentic creations and speaking her truth, her relatives became hostile and critical. But here's the magical part: as she held her ground and continued expressing her true self, she began attracting collectors, mentors, and collaborators who valued her sensitivity as a superpower. Her art sales tripled, and she found herself surrounded by people who celebrated rather than tolerated her authenticity. This is the law of resonance in action. Like attracts like, and your authentic frequency calls forth others who are operating from the same elevated level. But let's be real about what this looks like in practice, because the spiritual community often sugarcoats this process. You'll have family members who suddenly start picking fights with you for no apparent reason. Coworkers might begin excluding you from conversations or spreading subtle rumors about your weird interests in spirituality and personal growth. Old friends might accuse you of being too good for them or claim you've become preachy simply because you're no longer participating in their toxic gossip sessions. This isn't coincidence, it's your expanded consciousness triggering their shadow wounds, and they're projecting their own self-judgment onto you. The key is understanding that their reactions have nothing to do with you and everything to do with their own resistance to evolution and abundancia consciousness. Here's the plot twist that most people miss. The very people who seem most irritated by your authenticity are often the ones who need your example the most. Your willingness to be real in a world full of pretense gives others permission to drop their masks too, but first they have to work through their own conditioning around what's acceptable or safe. Some will rise to meet your energy, while others will fall away, and both outcomes are perfect for your spiritual evolution. The universe is constantly orchestrating a cosmic sorting process, ensuring that your energy is invested in connections that support your highest good and contribute to the collective expansion to conscientia. Those who can't handle your light weren't meant to journey with you anyway, and their departure makes room for relationships that actually nourish your soul. What happens next might surprise you. Once you've cleared the energetic clutter, you'll discover that the universe has been preparing some very special connections. There's something absolutely magical that happens when you elevate your vibracio. Animals start treating you differently. I'm talking about profound, undeniable shifts in how every creature, from household pets to wild birds, responds to your presence. Animals operate on pure instinct and energia spiritual. They haven't learned to lie to themselves or others like humans have. When you're genuinely connected to your EU superior and walking your authentic jornada espiritual, you emit a frequency that animals recognize as safe, loving, and trustworthy. It's like you become a walking sanctuary that speaks their language fluently. I've witnessed this phenomenon countless times. Clients who've done deep inner work suddenly find themselves surrounded by animals who seek them out, want to be petted by them, and seem inexplicably drawn to their energy field. Think about it from the perspective of physica quantica and energy fields. Animals are incredibly sensitive to electromagnetic frequencies and can literally sense the coherence of your heart rhythm and brain waves. When you're operating from love, gratitude, and expanso de conscientia, your biofield becomes harmonious and non-threatening to their nervous systems. Neville Goddard taught that our inner state radiates outward and affects our entire reality, and this principle applies beautifully to animal connections. A person who has activated their centella divina naturally emanates the same frequency as Mother Earth herself, peaceful, nurturing, and life-affirming. Dogs will approach you with tails wagging even if they're typically shy or aggressive with strangers. Cats, those notorious judges of character, will choose to sit near you and purr contentedly. Even wild animals like birds and squirrels will show less fear and more curiosity around your presence. But here's where it gets really fascinating. This isn't just about being an animal person or having some special talent. It's about the universal law of resonance and how your elevated consciousness creates a field of safety that all living beings can feel. When you're no longer carrying the heavy energies of anger, fear, resentment, or internal conflict, you become energetically similar to how animals naturally exist, present, authentic, and aligned with the flow of life. I remember working with David, a corporate executive who was incredibly stressed and disconnected from his spirituality. His own cat would barely acknowledge him, and neighborhood dogs would bark aggressively when he walked by. After months of meditation, energy work, and cultivating abundancia consciousness, something remarkable happened. Not only did his cat become affectionate, but he started attracting animals everywhere he went. Birds would land near him during his morning walks, and even the local park squirrels would approach him fearlessly. This phenomenon reveals something profound about the nature of consciousness and how the universe operates through all living beings. Animals are like spiritual barometers. They can sense the authenticity of your energy and whether you're operating from love or fear. When you're truly aligned with your spiritual path and practicing co-creatio with the universe, you become a beacon of the same unconditional love that animals naturally embody. They recognize you as kin, as someone who has remembered what it means to be fully present and heart-centered. This is why highly spiritual people often find themselves becoming unofficial animal whisperers, stray cats showing up at their door, injured birds allowing them to provide help, or wild animals displaying unusual trust and curiosity around their presence. The beautiful thing about this connection is that it works both ways. Animals become your spiritual teachers and healers, offering you lessons in presence, unconditional love, and living fully in the moment. They mirror back to you the purity of your own energia as spiritual and help you stay grounded in your authentic self. When you're having a challenging day or feeling disconnected from your spiritual practice, simply spending time with animals can quickly realign you with your higher frequency. Their energy field naturally entrains with yours, creating a harmonious resonance that elevates both of you. This mutual exchange of love and healing energy is actually preparing you for even deeper connections with the conscious beings around you, because if animals can sense your elevated vibration so clearly, imagine what other awakened souls are picking up on. Have you ever noticed how complete strangers seem to share their deepest secrets with you out of nowhere? You're standing in line at the grocery store, sitting on a park bench, or waiting for your coffee, and suddenly someone you've never met before starts telling you about their divorce, their spiritual awakening, or their most profound life struggles. This isn't coincidence, it's a clear sign that your vibration has reached a level where you naturally emit what I call soul safety frequency. When you're genuinely connected to your EU superior and walking your authentic jornada as spiritual, you become like a human confessional booth that people instinctively trust. Your energia as spiritual creates an invisible field of non-judgment and unconditional acceptance that makes others feel safe to be vulnerable. It's as if your very presence gives them permission to drop their masks and share what's really going on in their hearts. From a physica quantica perspective, this phenomenon occurs because your elevated consciousness creates a coherent energy field that resonates with the deepest truth within others. Neville Goddard taught that we attract experiences that match our inner state, and when you're operating from love, compassion, and expanso de conscientia, you naturally draw people who need to experience those qualities. Your centella divina acts like a beacon for wounded souls who are ready to heal but haven't found a safe space to express their pain. I've seen this happen countless times with clients who've done deep spiritual work. They'll be approached by strangers in airports, elevators, or coffee shops who inexplicably feel compelled to share their most intimate challenges. It's not that you're trying to be anyone's therapist, it's that your authentic presence creates a sacred container where healing can naturally occur. This ability to create instant trust and connection is actually a spiritual gift that emerges when you've cleared your own emotional baggage and learned to hold space without judgment. Think about it, most people are walking around carrying heavy burdens, feeling isolated and misunderstood, desperately seeking someone who will truly listen without trying to fix them or judge their experiences. When you've done your inner work and achieved a state of inner peace, you become that person naturally. Your energy field communicates safety, wisdom, and unconditional love without you having to say a word. I remember working with Maria, a healer who was initially overwhelmed by how many strangers would approach her with their problems. Once she understood that this was a sign of her elevated spiritual development and learned to set healthy boundaries while still honoring the gift, she realized she was facilitating profound healing moments simply by being present with people in their pain. The beautiful thing about this phenomenon is that it's actually a form of co-creation with the universe. You're being used as a channel for divine love and healing energy to reach people who need it most. Each encounter is perfectly orchestrated to serve both souls involved. The stranger gets to experience unconditional acceptance and release some of their emotional burden, while you get to practice embodying your highest self and serving as a vessel for spiritual transformation. These aren't random interactions, they're soul assignments that help accelerate both your spiritual evolution and theirs. Your willingness to hold space for others' pain and joy demonstrates that you've transcended the ego's need to protect itself and have stepped into your role as a light worker in the world. But here's what most people don't realize about this gift: it's preparing you for even greater levels of spiritual service and abundance consciousness. When you can create instant trust and connection with strangers, you're demonstrating mastery over one of the most important skills in the universe: the ability to see past surface appearances and connect with the divine essence within every person. This capacity naturally attracts opportunities for leadership, healing work, and creating positive impact in the world. People who can make others feel truly seen and heard become magnets for prosperity, meaningful relationships, and spiritual advancement. The universe is constantly testing your readiness for greater responsibility, and your ability to serve as a safe haven for others' authenticity proves that you're prepared for the next level of your spiritual journey. What that next level looks like might surprise you. So there you have it, the 5 unmistakable signs that your Vibracao has reached levels that most people will never experience. But here's the real question: what are you going to do with this knowledge? Are you going to continue playing small, dimming your light to make others comfortable, or are you finally ready to fully embrace the powerful spiritual being you've become? Listen, recognizing these signs is just the beginning. The universe has shown you that you're operating at an elevated frequency, but now it's time to step into your role as a conscious creator and use this elevated energy as spiritual to manifest the life you truly deserve. Your expanded consciousness isn't meant to be hidden, it's meant to be shared, expressed, and used to elevate not just your own reality, but the collective consciousness of humanity. I want you to ask yourself right now, how many of these experiences have you been having? Are you finally ready to stop questioning your spiritual progress and start claiming your power? Are you prepared to accept that your jornada as spiritual has led you to become someone who operates on a completely different frequency than most people around you? Here's what I need you to understand: if you've been experiencing these phenomena, you have a responsibility. Your elevated Vibracao isn't just a personal achievement, it's a tool for transformation that the universe has entrusted to you. Every interaction with animals, every stranger who opens up to you, every toxic person who can't stand your energy, these are all opportunities to anchor more light into this world and help accelerate the global expanso de consciencia. But here's the challenge I'm giving you: don't let this knowledge make you complacent. The fact that you've reached this level of spiritual development means you're ready for even greater challenges, deeper service, and more profound connections with your EU superior. The universe is preparing you for something bigger, and these experiences are just the foundation. So tell me in the comments, which of these signs resonated most strongly with you? Have you been experiencing phenomena that you couldn't explain until now? And more importantly, what are you going to do differently now that you understand the true meaning behind these experiences? If this video has helped you recognize your own spiritual evolution and given you the validation you've been seeking, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're just getting started with exploring the depths of consciousness, the mysteries of physica quantica, and the practical applications of advanced spiritual principles. Your journey toward mastering co-creacao with the universe is far from over, and I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Remember, your centella divina isn't meant to be kept hidden. It's meant to shine brightly and illuminate the path for others who are ready to follow. The world needs more people operating at your level of consciousness, and by continuing to expand your awareness and refine your spiritual gifts, you're contributing to the greatest transformation humanity has ever experienced. Stay connected, stay elevated, and never forget, you are far more powerful than you realize.